Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today, 941-877-1552, or email us at publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. In the spring of 1970, Bobby Berge got a call from legendary guitarist Tommy Bolin in Boulder. And he said he wanted him to come out and audition with his band Zephyr. Bobby had been listening to their first album and absolutely loved Tommy's playing and the sound of the group. After flying out and hitting it off with the group with an initial audition, he immediately moved out to Boulder. He played with Zephyr for the next year or so, and it was an extremely exciting experience. Boulder was a thriving musical mecca at the time, and they would play in and around Boulder at small outdoor mini-Woodstock types of concerts. They played in Denver at Mammoth Gardens along with Joe Cocker and Leon Russell. For a good year, they flew to many major cities and played huge concerts on the same bill as musical greats like Steve Winwood, Mountain, Fleetwood Mac, the Kinks, and Iggy Pop, to name a few. In the fall of 1970, he played drums on the second Zephyr album, going back to Colorado at Electric Lady Studios in New York City with the great Eddie Kramer as engineer. This was Bobby's first major experience playing with Tommy Bolin, and it was fantastic to say the least. Bobby says Tommy was always outgoing, upbeat, friendly, and extremely funny. He was so much fun for a drummer to play with. I love to play off him and copy his lightning-fast riffs as we jammed. I learned a lot about weird time signatures from him. I miss those hippie days and miss Tommy and playing with one of the greatest. On Bobby's work with the great Buddy Miles, Buddy's a very talented, soulful man. During 1975-76, I did more work with him than with Tommy Bolin. I was switching back and forth with projects, mainly recording. I did the More Miles Per Gallon album with Buddy in 1975 and Bicentennial, a gathering of the tribes in 1976. When we played live, Buddy would play drums for a few tunes. Then I'd hop on the skins and Buddy would go out front and sing. We had a 5-piece horn section, a funky bass player, and keyboards. It was wild playing with both artists during that period of 75 through 76. I'll put up some Buddy stuff sometime, kind of a disco feel, but very funky. Please welcome legendary drummer Bobby Berge to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Bobby.
Hi, Ray. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you, man. You got quite a resume.
Yeah, you about said it all there. I guess there isn't much more to say. Well, no, that you covered a lot of ground there, but
what?
Yeah, you touched on some major deals there. I did know Tommy, before that.
Right.
Before he called me, I met him in Sioux City like around 65, 66. He was only like 14, 15.
Wow.
And I was 17 playing with the club band of Valairs in Sioux City. So that's when I first hooked up with him.
Well, I tell you one thing, Tommy had so many friends and so many people that are still very, very attached to him today.
Yes, that's true. I mean, his music is timeless, as we all, a lot of people can agree. Touches so many
I was lucky enough to see him with the James Gang and with Deep Purple both, and had good seats for those, so I got to see him up close. But yeah, he was a fantastic guitar player, and I loved his fusion stuff especially.
Yeah, really. I mean, when I first heard Spectrum, I mean, it blew me away. Well, he blew me away when I first heard the first Zephyr album, like you were saying. But, I knew he was a good player even before that. I mean, he was kind of like a little above all the others, and there's a lot of good guitar players in Sioux City that he grew up with, and but he was just kind of a little above them, and I used to jam the Hendrix and Cream stuff with him, and he just had that sound. I mean, heavy rock sound. So yeah, I always knew he was special.
There was always that one. I grew up hanging around a lot of musicians in high school, and I played a little guitar. But there's always that one guy you knew he was something special about him. He just picked up the guitar and could play anything, and he had his own personality on the guitar,
Right.
There's always that one guy.
Well, in between Zephyr and like the L.A. Buddy Miles and then Tommy again, is a big era there for a couple years. Energy, super group,
Great band. I agree.
That was, I would say, we didn't, hit the big time as you say, but we did some good concerts and did some great demo recordings. But as far as a band, that was pretty much musically the high point. Because I mean, we were playing. It's like. Jeff Cook has said, we were a blues, hard rock, metal, country. I mean, we just touched on all bases.
Tommy Bolin and Energy, I guess you guys formed around 1971, right, in Boulder?
Yeah.
And
right after Tommy and I left Zephyr.
The lineup was Tommy Bolin, Jeff Cook, Tom Stevenson, Stanley Sheldon, which I know. I met him backstage at a Peter Frampton show and did an interview. And then you on drums. It was a great lineup.
Well, did you see us back then, or?
No. I actually saw Peter Frampton with Stanley. Stanley went on the...
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a good guy, too. Stanley Sheldon.
Our first singer was Gary Wilson.
Okay.
And he's the singer on Red Skies and background on Limits.
Right.
And then, let's see, we had Bobby LeKind on congas for a while. We called him Bobby Conga. Then he went on to play with the Doobies,
Right.
Yeah, then Jeff Cook, and then Max Carl.
Now, did Kenny Passarelli play in the band for a while?
Well, the sort of like pre-Energy was, okay, when Tommy and I left Zephyr, there was a little period there where he'd already hooked up with Jeremy Steig, I guess by phone, or I'm not sure if he went out there yet, but anyway, Jeremy came back for a few weeks.
Right.
And then Kenny was on bass then. And we did a few gigs, Tulagis, a few places in Denver.
What happened? What happened to the band? Why didn't the band, keep on going?
Good question. Well, we were kind of over a lot of people's heads. I mean, it got out there at times.
Right.
You heard some of the tapes, right?
Yeah.
Well, we did have, a one big chance there. We were playing a place called the Soundtrack on Colfax. And, it's a famous story where some record
Mm-hmm.
And we were like partying backstage, and then when the second set, we thought they left, and then we were kind of a little loose, a little high, drunk, whatever. And then we didn't know they stuck around, and we kind of blew it the second set.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how much that had to do with it, but maybe something.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's one for the $64,000 question. You know, why, you know, Barry couldn't do more, or just not sure, but we sure hell should have gotten signed.
I think so.
That band was great.
It was a fantastic band. Yeah, I loved your rendition of Going Down. I saw that on YouTube. I think it's better than Jeff Beck's.
Well, yeah, that's well, the way when I hear that, it's like kind of just slow and metalish.
Right.
You know,
right.
That radio broadcast at Summit Studios.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that's the way we played all the time. We were pretty consistent. I mean, when I hear like different recordings, like different live versions, even like Hoka Hey, it's like we kept a lot of the arrangements stayed somewhat the same, but you know, we would definitely get into our improv, you know, besides the basic arrangement, but it was just a great band, and we were all in really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Tommy and I hit it off in the respect where, you know, he had a lot of drummer in him. I mean, he played percussive type stuff on his guitar, you know, that fast 30-second 64th note runs, and I don't know, we just I sort of like copied him, played along with him,
mm-hmm.
however you want to look at it.
Right.
But yeah, he once told me we thought alike.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think he meant in that percussive way, because that was kind of my style. I mean, like coming from a rudiment drum corps background, just kind of that straight ahead rudimental approach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the latter years here, I sort of like try and almost get away from that, because I mean, that style, I mean, it's just kind of tight, and I don't know how to describe it exactly. What do you think?
Well, I think you are a great drummer, by the way.
Well, it's different. Like, you know, compare it to different drummers where they have a more relaxed.
Right.
We're comparing it to like Robbie Chamberlain.
Right.
So he's more of a jazzy, finesseful drummer, and
mm-hmm.
I'm just like more straight ahead rock.
Yep.
Coming from rudiments and drum corps.
Yep, exactly.
Band and orchestra.
Yeah, yeah. Were you a big fan of Buddy Rich?
Oh, yeah. One of my first records, well, that's where, like, you know, Tommy, when he was very young, he was listening to a lot of, well, back then it was swing jazz, bebop, and so he started real young with that, and myself also. Besides rock, one of my first records was Take 5 by Brubeck, so I really got into Joe Morello.
Yeah.
And then when I heard Buddy Rich, somehow I acquired, let me see, I was about 14, 15, and I acquired a 45.
Mm-hmm.
It was Woody Herman's Herd.
Yep.
Woody Herman in the Herd.
Yeah, I remember.
Buddy Rich on drums. It's called Hi-Fi Drums. If you look that up on YouTube, I mean, Buddy plays, I mean, it's incredible. But when I heard that, how clean, he was so fast and so clean and musical. Both him and Morello were very musical. So yeah, I was mainly Buddy Rich, Joe Morello, Earl Palmer. I got that record Drumsville when I was real young, and then Sandy Nelson, kind of in the rock. I mean, back then, now, Sandy was kind of a big deal.
Yep.
And he was a real clean drummer too. It was simple. Leather drums. The 16th notes on the toms.
Right.
But he was a big influence too. So.
And there was one more guy before Buddy Rich that made his mark. Gene Krupa.
Well, Gene Krupa, I liked him too.
Yep.
But I liked them all. I listened to Max Roach, Gene Krupa. Let's see. Well, but for some reason, Buddy's style and that cleanness.
Yeah.
Because I think he must have started with Rudiments too, and I think they all did.
Right.
But his snare didn't ring out as much.
Right.
Like Krupa really had the ringy snare, and it kind of drove me crazy at times. but it's just different styles. But Buddy was, way above the rest as far as I was concerned. And then Morello.
Right.
Wow. The time signatures, and that's where I first started, learning about 5/4 and 7/4 and 9/8.
Yep. And Tommy was lucky enough also to play with one of my favorite drummers, Billy Cobham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many great drummers, but yeah, they started meeting he just started making a name for himself in the jazz field there. They loved his playing. And, of course, he loved their playing.
Right.
But, yeah, Cobham. Did see him live in Boulder once.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times. Saw him with Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Yep.
In Boulder, and another time later on in Boulder. That wasn't Mahavishnu's the second time, but yeah, just incredible. There's so many great drummers like Lenny White, Harvey Mason.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites, can't leave out Tony Williams.
Tony Williams, right?
Yeah. He's probably about top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, in the jazz field, Tony Williams, John Bonham in the rock field. But, there's so many great ones that, yeah. And then, on a different note, Buddy Miles was a great drummer.
Oh, yeah.
With the hard rock funk. He was just lay it down simple and solid and funky.
Yeah, he was great with Hendrix too. He had his big hit, of course, Them Changes, which I love. That's probably one of the great riffs of all time. Da 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 da. I love that.
Well, right. Well, we were, I grew up with, partly grew up with him. We went to. I thought we went to junior high together, but I kind of learned. I went to Whittier, and I think he went to Axtell Park in Sioux Falls. But anyway, we still hung out a lot. We used to go bowling and get together and jam.
That's pretty cool.
Because his family lived in Sioux Falls for a little while.
Right.
And then they went to Omaha. But yeah, we were buddies, and so then he moved away. And, the next thing I hear, I hear about, I think it was 69-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about, Buddy Miles Express. So I bought that album, Buddy Miles Express, Right to Your Skull.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I would jam to. But yeah, before that, of course, as soon as I heard Hendrix and Cream, I mean, man, I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then Buddy, after Expressway to Your Skull, the next thing I know, I hear he's with, Electric Flag.
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely heavy funk.
How'd you hook up back with Buddy? Did he give you a call one day and want you to play on his album?
Okay, so after a lot happened. Okay, after Energy,
right.
Tommy had hooked up with Jeremy, went out and did those sessions with
right.
Cobham
mm-hmm.
demos,
Yep.
Jeremy, Cobham, let's see. Okay, then Tommy got with James Gang.
Yep.
And did that trip. Started getting bored with that. He'd come back to Boulder and we'd throw together kind of a post-Energy deal with
mm-hmm.
Tommy Bolin and friends. And so then he's out in L.A. Well, then he calls me January 1st of 75.
Right.
Of all days. And said, hey, do you want to come on out? And I want you to play in my new band. Because he hadn't really had a Tommy Bolin band yet.
Right.
Yeah, so I moved out there, packed up my stuff in my 64 Rambler, and headed out there. And so that, we attempted a band. It was Tommy Stanley and me and Ronnie Barron.
Right.
Keys.
Right.
Dr. John's keyboard player,
Sure.
And it didn't really fly. And so then we're getting into the spring of 75. Stanley hooked up with Frampton,
mm-hmm.
and Tommy hooked up with Purple. And we're just, there's a lot of hanging out in the clubs and stuff. So I remember going to a club with Tommy, and Buddy was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen him in, a long time.
Yeah.
I guess since Sioux Falls.
Wow.
So I go over and, hey, buddy, Bobby, and, it was great to see him. So I started talking to him at that club there, and I think let me see. Well, he said, I'm working on some demos. You ought to come by the house, and I'd like you to, let's play, So went to one of the house I was at the time. That might have been the one in Nichols Canyon.
Right.
Because we did one of the songs was basically a jam.
Mm-hmm.
It's on More Miles Per Gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Nichols Canyon Funk. So he had Ben Schultz on guitar at the time, and we just started jamming around, and he said, yeah, I'd like you to play on my album, and so that's how that started.
Buddy was a pretty good guitar player too, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him play a whole lot of guitar at the time.
Uh-huh.
But once in a while I did. Blues rock, psychedelic, whatever.
Yeah.
When he came back, 2000 was the last time I saw Buddy.
Really?
He came back and headlined the Bolin Fest. It was at the Anderson Pavilion, and Glenn Hughes played too. So I don't know if Glenn was a headliner or Buddy, but he played a lot of guitar that day. I remember I sat in a couple songs with his band, and got some pics of that day. But that's the last time I saw him, and yeah, it's sad. So many of our friends have gone.
It is sad. It is sad. I've got I've got a new book. I've got a new book out called The Rockstar Chronicles, and I interviewed like 50 guys. Not that long ago. I mean, recently and within the last 5 years, and 9 of them are gone. In the book, 9 of them have passed away. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's what makes you want to treasure every day.
Yeah, exactly.
One day at a time, and make the best of each day. And
the Tommy Bolin band had several different lineups. I mean, you were in it with Mark Stein, who I had on the show also, another great guy. And I had Reggie on recently, Reggie McBride.
Right.
But you were on, you were on the, which one were you on? You were with Tommy, Mark, Norma Jean Bell, and Reggie, right? That was a lineup?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, the first main Tommy Bolin band was the people you said, in Narada.
Narada, right.
Walden, sorry. Narada.
Yeah, that's a hard name to pronounce.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that was the first band, and then Michael left the band, and then I took his place.
Right.
So yeah. So it was a great band, great players.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose musically, besides the energy, that was definitely another high point. I mean, it was great playing on, a couple songs on Teaser.
Mm-hmm.
I did do the grind.
Yep.
I screwed up.
I saw
Somebody
that.
screwed up.
I saw that.
In Lotus.
Yeah.
But Private Eyes, I mean, that was less jamming around. Well, actually, we worked a lot of that up in the studio, so I mean, it did. We kind of, I guess, jammed and improvised some of it into actual songs. Mm-hmm. But the end product is more like a band and in great tunes. Where it has Teaser, a lot of guest artists and a lot going on. But so Private Eyes, it sounded great. Definitely a high point. I love the sound that Dennis McKay got on the drums. Mm-hmm. And got on everything, but so anyway, yeah, great players. I mean, Reggie.
Yeah.
I mean, monster bass player.
He's awesome.
Of course, yeah. Mark and Norma and Tommy.
Yeah.
That was, I would say, especially the second part of Post Toasty, it kind of captured what I always wanted to hear myself, really rocking out. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, with Reggie background, I mean, along with playing with him and Mark, I mean, and Tommy, I mean, man, it kicked butt.
That's an all-star lineup, man.
Yeah. It is hard.
Vanilla Fudge and Reggie played with not only Rare Earth but Stevie Wonder and Elton John. It's incredible.
Yeah, Mo, I did see him at the Sioux Falls Jazz Fest 2009.
Uh-huh.
And I talked to him a bunch, and that was the last time I think I talked to Reggie on the phone about shortly, around 2003, 4.
I just talked to him like last week.
Oh, wow.
He's a great interview, man. I mean, he's got some great stories.
Yeah. A lot of those guys got better memories.
I think you're doing pretty darn good.
Well, I'm giving it my best shot.
I think you're doing great. I want to read something you said about when you were working with the Teaser album and Private Eyes. Those sessions, I guess it was in L.A., at a record plant in L.A., And
Right.
you were saying that it was incredible. The place was fantastic. That you saw more stars than Carter's got little liver pills. I like that.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, at the time, it's like, you're kind of shy, and it's like you don't know what to say really. But I mean, yeah. I mean, one time, let me see, who was Bad Company was.
Yep.
I mean, in C. I don't know. Robert Plant was in the control room.
Wow.
And he had his leg in a cast.
Huh.
And so, he could just sit in the control room, and I guess he was playing some guitar, and Boz was on bass.
Mm-hmm.
And Mick Rolfe was there. And they were just started jamming around. And there were some drums out in the studio, but there's no sticks.
Right.
So I don't know where the brushes came from, but I turned the brushes around so I could get the hard part.
Uh-huh.
Just start jamming some stuff with them. Oh yeah, I mean, it's like a who's who of many people recording there.
Incredible.
At the same time.
Yeah, you said you hung out with Bad Company.
Played on because I was recording with both Buddy and Tommy there.
Right.
Like Stevie Wonder played clavichord on one or two of Buddy's songs on More Miles Per Gallon, but so I had this game room in between.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of spread out, the record plant. B was in the middle, and C was down in the hall off to one chute. But they had a game room where, they go through there, and there's Stevie Wonder and Buddy Miles playing foosball. Or maybe it was shooting pool. I don't know. No, that's foosball.
Foosball.
And I think C was kicking his butt.
Really?
Yeah, all kinds of people. And I used to, I don't know, I get a little buzz on it, and I just pop my head into different studios.
Right. Why not?
Let me see. The guitar player for the record, let me see, the record company, studio musicians, I can't think of his name.
Mm-hmm.
Played with Carly Simon, and anyway, I just stick my head into in different studios and kind of made a pest of myself.
Didn't you get to play on a couple of tracks for Carly Simon?
Yeah, I did, but I don't think she used.
She didn't use it?
I don't think she used both of them.
Huh.
David played on a bunch of them, and Tommy, I guess, played on a couple.
Right.
I did a rock one, and I don't know what the reasoning was. I didn't get into that, but I don't think they used the real rocker one, my track, but I played on another one. Because I think I looked it up and I did some research and I found that. But it's like a little country, little shuffle dealy, and I was playing on the rims of the drums.
Right.
Like clickety click, 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 it was kind of just kind of a hokey little. So I think they kept that one. Because that's been a while. But I looked it up. I think I found it.
Huh.
So anyway, that was a trip too. Living in the village there, staying at the Chelsea for
right.
I don't know, what was it, a good month.
Right.
See, like Roland Kirk, Charlie Mingus, at different times.
Yeah.
Mose Allison.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we saw Lenny Bruce one night.
Huh.
Flip Wilson. All kinds of people. Of course, you can see a lot of people in the village. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you said while you were working with Tommy, you would run down the hallway and work with Buddy.
Yeah. Because there was a time when we were both at the same time when Tommy was in Studio A and Buddy was in B.
Mm-hmm.
B was a little smaller studio, but yep, it was pretty crazy. And then later on, Tommy was moved down to B.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Did you play with get to play with Jeff Beck at all?
Just when he popped into town, I think he was playing the Starlight Ballroom.
Right.
Or Starlight Bowl, whatever. And that was like the first part of June, 76. And, our good friend Philip Palomini, where we used to jam all the time and do little demo recordings. I guess Tommy ran into him and found out he was coming into town and somehow got a hold of him and invited him over to Phillips.
Right.
So, yeah, that was, I wish I remembered more of that, but I mean, at least the recordings are of
exactly
Jeff on bass. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, when Jeff was on guitar and Tommy on bass got erased.
Huh.
Because that was the first jam.
Right.
I mean, we jammed a half hour, 45 minutes that way first. And then Philip did a lot of, it wasn't a fancy setup, but a lot of it was reel-to-reel. I don't know if it was Sony or TAC.
Mm-hmm.
And just a 2 or 4 track. But that particular time he was recording on a cassette recorder. And he flipped the cassette over in between the jams.
Really?
And, no, he didn't flip it over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. He forgot to flip the cassette over.
And it ran out.
And then he recorded over the first jam.
Oh, okay.
So now we have, Tommy and I definitely played every lick we knew.
Uh-huh.
And, I don't know. I hope Jeff enjoyed that. I gave 2010, John Hurt has made some copies of those jams, and so I had a copy and even made a cover, for it. So I took it, went down to Kansas City with Jesse Christian, guitar player that I play with a lot around here. We went down to this, because he was playing the Starlight Amphitheater there in Kansas City. 2010, and then we got to go backstage. So I said, hey Jeff, we talked to him and did some pictures, and I said, we gave him t-shirts. I said, hey Jeff, here's a copy of my new CD and you're on it.
Right.
I don't know what I said, but here's that jam we did, and probably gets hundreds of CDs people giving him and whatnot.
Right.
But I think his gal took it, right? His manager took it. But anyway, he said, "Oh, okay, thank you." But yeah.
There is one jam with you, Tommy, and Jeff Beck on YouTube that I found.
Well,
yeah,
right, and that's it.
That's it.
That's that.
Yeah.
The first part of June '76.
Right.
Okay, there's part 1 and there's part 2.
Okay.
Well, that's our jam.
Okay.
Now there's part 3. That's not Tommy and Jeff and me. That's Jeff doing his live recording somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, live gig.
Huh.
That's our jam, split into 2 sections in part 1 and part 2.
Got it. What was your impression of Barry Fay?
Well, I didn't really get real personal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to know a lot of people. Like, I was pretty much a loner. And then, I was married for a while or whatever. I just kind of was in my own little world.
Right.
But I didn't get to know him personally that well. But, we got along.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he loved Tommy, and he really he loved what we were doing in Energy. And he tried.
Mm-hmm.
He did what he could as far as trying to get us going, get us signed. But he mainly loved Tommy, and he did. I got along with him good.
Mm-hmm.
I hit it off. He did buy me the Mapex set. I did really appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean the blonde wood Ludwigs,
right?
Double bass. And that's what you hear, like, okay, on the Summit Studio,
mm-hmm.
The live recording. That's those big drums. Blonde Ludwigs. I actually like, for some reason, the smaller the set that I played in Zephyr.
Right.
It was a Ludwig Marine Pearl, 2 20-inch bass, and just an 8 by 12 and a 13 rack and a 16 floor.
Mm-hmm.
2 20-inch bass. And that's what I used in Energy for a lot of the demos. And I love the sound of those,
yeah.
way they came across in the recordings. But anyway, at some point in Energy, we decided, I think all of us were somehow getting new equipment, and so I think it was brought to my attention, hey, Bobby, what do you need?
Yeah.
We went to a music store in Denver, and Gary said, pick out what you need. So that's what I ended up with.
Is it difficult getting that right sound in a drum set? I mean, to me, a guitar would be a lot easier than a drum set. You getting the sound you're looking for, is that?
Well, I didn't nitpick too much.
No.
I mean, I just sort of went with what I had.
Right.
And, it's kind of like after the fact where I noticed, well, it just kind of depends on the situation you're in, who's, what studio you're in, who's the engineer, who's, but, the Ludwigs was easier they're smaller drums, and it was easier to control the ringing of the drums.
Right.
But, I wouldn't say I'm a real expert on what needs to be done in the studio as far as getting a certain sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed, like, artists like, Whitney Houston. I mean, she would bring in, for every track, maybe, like, a different drummer.
Well, that's nice when you can do that.
Yeah.
If you can afford something like that.
Yeah, well, I guess you could.
know all the different people. I mean, that's kind of like, sounds like what Tommy did on Teaser.
Right.
Had a lot of guest artists on that, and it was exciting. Great. A lot of great players on there.
What about Bill Ryan and Black Irish? What was that all about?
Well, that was a great band, and Billy was probably the next best. Well, not best, but as far as getting the heavy rock sound.
Yeah.
I mean, he, I would say, next in line after Tommy.
Yep, I listened to his stuff. It was great.
Tommy,
yeah.
But he got, I don't know, he just got, I mean, he played different, but he got that sound.
Yeah.
That huge rock, metal sound at times.
Right.
And he could be real melodic. Sometimes he'd go off in a more dissident, melodies and leads, but I've also heard him play some really pretty, I call them minor melodic lead lines. That's what I loved about Tommy. He was so musical, and he had such a beautiful mind, the way some of his melodies. And I also love the way he used spaces. I mean, he didn't always play. He didn't always go crazy all the time. He knew when to lay back.
Right.
He was really a groove orientated player. We did a lot of jams back in Energy, Zephyr, and later in LA, and we'd lock into a groove, and he would just keep if it was a folk groove or a rock groove, he'd just hang right on that.
Yeah.
He wasn't worried about the leads, and then, when he wanted to go off on a tangent, he would, but Billy was great. Didn't always, it was a little harder to work with, but not that I was always the easiest, but he could be a slave driver at times.
Really?
But yeah, we'd get us rehearsing until 3, 4 in the morning. I mean, we'd have some endless rehearsals, but that band, Black Irish, some more great players, Jim Ayers on keys and Buddy Brooks on bass, another killer bass player.
Yeah.
It was a great band.
What happened to Billy?
Billy passed away in '99, heart attack.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, another sad deal.
Yeah.
But did some great demos with them. 2 of them are used on Billy's album. I think he's only released 1 album. Joker's Eye and Generic. He put on that album their demos that we did I think we did them, well, one was in Denver and one was in Boulder, North Star Studio. Butch Trucks helped produce some of those demos for that album.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some good stuff on YouTube. I've been listening to it, and I really like it. I didn't know too much about Bill Ryan before, we were doing this interview.
Well, like to, thought of doing, a tribute concert once in a while for him.
That'd be great.
Nobody, I don't know, nobody's ever talked about that much.
Yeah.
Jim and Scotty Rivera, they had a Black Irish going there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of disbanded here in the last several years, but they had it going for a while. But yeah, I would love to do a Billy Ryan tribute concert, keep his memory alive. But I mean, he was great.
Yeah, well, count me in. If you get some guys, if you got a couple of guys that, and you guys want to talk about it, we'll definitely put it on the radio.
Well, I'll bring that up again with Jim.
Yeah, we'll do a tribute,
and I'm sure he'd be into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard. It's hard to get things going and round everybody up, and all the logistics and everything. It's not easy these days.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Trace Keene, I've got enough to do my next series. My book is going to be in 4 series. In the next series, I'm going to devote a whole chapter to Tommy, and because I've got some great artists that are talking about Tommy. I got you, I got Kenny Passarelli, I got Joe Vitale, Johnny Bolin, Stanley Sheldon, Reggie McBride, Dennis Mackay, Mike Finnegan, Russell Bizet, Eddie Turner, Jock Bartley, and Mark Stein. I think that would be a good chapter. What do you think?
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Thanks to Trace.
Yeah. Trace has done so much.
He has.
I owe him a lot. All this.
Yeah. Well, we'll do the same for Billy Ryan. How's that? We'll do some kind of tribute to Billy, because
sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, guys like that need to be remembered. They had so much talent. It's a shame.
Well, we got him on video on that on the very first Bluebird concert.
Right.
January. Let me see. January 23rd, 96.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's 2 days later, the very first Tommy Bolin Archives Volume 1 came out on Rhino Records.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was Johnny Bolin had done some, some regional, some Sioux City area tribute deals. But that was like the very first major one.
Right.
That was really exciting because we hadn't seen each other, Stanley and Tom Stevenson. Mm-hmm. We hadn't seen each other in 15, 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, a lot of excitement in the air that night.
You and Johnny are pretty close, huh?
Well, we're buds, we're family.
Yeah.
Throughout, since the early days, the heyday, we've... especially in the last, I would say, 20, 25 years, we've become pretty close.
I tell you, you guys are all good guys, man. Every one of you.
Shout out to John Bartle here. A lot of the great players that grew up with Tommy. Roger Rothwell is gone. Gary Gunderson's gone, and bass player George Larvik. But John Bartle was probably one of my favorite guitar players around. He grew up with Tommy, so he's got that influence. I think they influenced each other, but he can play good and great blues singer too.
Yeah. What happened? What about?
Still a lot of great players around here.
Oh yeah.
But
they're just not getting the exposure that they once had, and that's why I like to do what I'm doing.
Right.
What about Bobby Berge and the Blues Bashers? What happened there?
its course. I mean, that's Jesse, Kristen, and myself. We weren't playing quite a bit there. Let me see, 2007 to 2009, 10. We were playing a lot. It was kind of I mean, I had already had a jam band. It was the Blues Bastards for a while. Huh. But I had about 6, 7, 8 different versions of that. And then Jesse and I hooked up.
Right.
And then we played steady for a few years. And, I still throw something together now and then. In fact, I'm kind of trying to get something going again. But it's hard. Everybody's leaving. Sad to say, that's, but... Yeah. There's still some great players, and, I kind of go in phases. I mean, spurts. I don't play for a while, and then I'll get a string of things where I throw some things together. Kind of working on a thing with John Bartle where we're going to host a blues jam in Sioux Falls.
Oh, great.
Now and then. Cool. Yeah, at the Vanguard Arts.
Right.
Yeah. And who knows, Jesse and I might throw something together now and then. But, a major thing that just happened, that was a lot of fun, exciting, was the induction.
Yes.
Can't forget to mention that. And,
right.
Because, I don't play that much anymore, so, I mean, December 3rd, that was, that was awesome. I mean, it's hard to believe that it kind of actually happened, jamming with Joe Bonamassa and Warren Hayes.
That's incredible.
I mean, that was great, though. I mean, thanks to Chuck Morris and Zephyr getting inducted and Tommy. I mean, it was a great show. And, but, man, it was so like wham, bam, just a few days and it's over.
I know.
So, but it was great.
Do you, would you like to do some more session work at all, or?
Well, sure. If, if the situation is right. And
right.
Can, the details seem to work out, and I'm up for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing some, I'm helping an old buddy at school, my old best friend from way, way back, Barry Hansen, and he lives in Texas. He's a Christian, and he's been into, he writes a lot of stuff. So I've been doing some drum tracks for him. So it's kind of like, okay, a couple were done in a drummer friend's house in Sioux Falls, Carl Holloman. And now I'm in Sioux City, and he wants me to do a couple more tracks, and all I have is a Zoom 4-track, so I might attempt something, or may have to go to a friend's. But I'm up for different things.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys now doing drum clinics too. I know Billy Cobham does that, and Carol Kay does things online from the Wrecking Crew. A lot of them are doing clinics online now. Like by Skype.
I know. I'm learning a lot. I mean, you can learn from the greats on YouTube. I mean, there's so much on the internet now.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Weckel and Gad, a bunch of different guys lately, and they're just doing amazing stuff these days. I mean, it's like a lot of it's over my head, but you just learn a little at a time. So, I mean, drummers are just doing fantastic things.
Yeah.
With the different time things and off the wall fills. I used to teach. I mean, back when I actually went to the And I did give some private lessons, but, I'd like to get back into it.
Yeah.
It's something I got to work on. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you've got so much to offer, and you could teach the next greatest drummer. Who knows?
Well, I would probably have to take some, maybe be geared for beginners, intermediate, and just, I know drummers don't want to dwell on rudiments and the boring stuff too much.
I
but,
know.
You need that basic.
True.
You need that basic background. So I would be good in that respect as far as getting, somebody started right.
Yeah.
But man, it's like there's so much that they can learn on the internet. But yeah, I'm going to look into that and
there's nothing like
teaching again.
Yeah, there's nothing like a private lesson. I mean, I was even thinking about doing the Carol Kay thing. I mean, I did take guitar lessons, but then I got into a different realm, and they wanted to teach me theory and all this crap, and I lost it after that. I said, let me, I don't want to get that complicated. It's too much like math.
Well, right. And I got to keep that in mind. Like, if I was to teach, I would probably say, well, if they want to play rock or jazz or hip hop or what, say, okay, let's do that. I mean, I want to help you do that, achieve your goal. But you got to have some basic background.
Exactly. Yeah, do the background, and then I'll teach you how to be Bonham.
Well, I don't know about that.
But Bobby, here's your final question, and I ask a lot of artists this question and get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform with or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
If I had a dream, who I would want to play with.
Yeah, if you had a wish, it could be anyone, somebody that's passed on, or,
Well, hopefully it'd be somebody that's still living, but, well, let's see. Off the top of my head, I would love to do a session or somehow play with Reggie again.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, off the top of my head, I'd like to get, a really good Tommy tribute band together with Johnny and, Stanley. Something that would be able to play, a little more frequent.
Yeah.
I mean, not just once a year, but, Lucas has been involved, Lucas Parker.
Right.
And he's great. And he's getting kind of busy there in Denver, but, if he was a part of it, and maybe get, another, doesn't necessarily have to be one guitar player, get a couple people involved, a keyboard player, and just get a really top-notch tribute band together that you can play just a little more frequent, do some major cities.
I think that would be great. I mean, you got...
That would be fun.
Yes.
You know any backers with a whole lot of money?
I could find you one.
Well, we'll see what...
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, all these guys are still around, and they're the best of the best,
Our annual Tommy, the main one it's been at the Icky Nickel.
Uh-huh.
A crazy name, but it's a nice outdoor venue.
Right.
Just outside of Sioux City, out in the countryside. So we've been doing that since 2010.
Right.
Joe Vitale's come back.
Yep.
Chris Duarte. God, who else? Eddie Turner.
Eddie Turner, yeah.
I'm talking to David Gibbons about coming.
Yep.
But, maybe we can get Reggie talk him into coming to one of the fests. Here, I know he's busy, but...
You guys have so much influence, I don't see why not. It's just like you said, a matter of getting everybody together, right? Yeah.
Right. So I just, guess want to just continue carrying on, keeping Tommy's spirit and music alive with some great players.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many, too many to mention.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, man, Bobby, you're a great drummer, man, and we need guys like you to keep on going. Keep the genre alive, both rock and jazz, and,
Well, thanks. I really appreciate your kind words. And, I just bash out anymore. I told you, my background. And, that's my style. But, I just try to keep it simple, solid, and try and keep it in the pocket. But
sure.
I just bash out anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about filling in for Ringo with the Beatles? How would that work out?
Well, I would love to meet Ringo.
Yeah.
And well, you never know.
You never know.
If I got a chance to play along with the All Stars there, I would.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Be in seventh heaven.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in the latter days here, speaking of the groove, I mean, I didn't appreciate it so much back when I was a upstart, and more was better, and, try and play as many licks as you can. But in the latter years, the groove and Ringo, Charlie Watts, and their feel, it's just that simple groove in the pocket.
Yeah.
I really respect it.
Like you said, it's simple. It really is, but it works. Yeah. But there'll never be another Buddy Rich.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Bobby, thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. I really, really appreciate it. Keep in touch. We want to get you on again. Let us know what you're up to in the coming months, and what you got planned and everything.
Okay, will do. And
hope you can come out to Florida.
Take some time and get into some of the interviews you've done here.
Yeah, it's been a bunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna get busy and listen. But hey, it was great talking to you, Ray.
Good talking to you too, man. And all the best to you and the family. And hope you get to come out to Florida one day.
Oh, speaking of family, I mean, a lot of what keeps me together now is my gal Betty.
Right.
Betty B. And she keeps me together, and we're happy.
Well, behind every great man's a great woman. That's the truth.
Well, she's great.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have a great weekend, and it's been great talking to you.
Me too, Bobby. Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one. And
You
talk
too.
To you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye.
For more information about Bobby Berge, visit www.rampantzone.com/Bobby-Berge, Berge. Also, www.facebook.com/Bobby.Berge and the number 1 on Facebook. Also, www.tommybolin.com and www.Zephyr, Zephyr, official.com. Very, very special thanks to the great Trace Keane for arranging this interview with Bobby Berge and the dynamic duo of Doug and Don Newsom, BBS Radio, for making the magic happen for each and every broadcast of Interviewing the Legends. And, of course, if you have comments or suggestions for the show, contact me at interviewingthelegends@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho, for the very latest interviews. And it is real news, guys. And, of course, purchase my new book. It's awesome. I do want to say it is awesome. It's entitled The Rockstar Chronicles, Volume 1. I hope to get at least 4 out of these, out of the series. Chronicles truths, confessions, and wisdom from the music legends that set us free. You can order yours today on hardcover, which I suggest, or ebook at bookbaby.com or amazon.com. Features over 45 intimate conversations with some of the greatest rock legends on the planet. Now, I want to mention who's in the book. These are all interviews by me. Some of them have passed on, so they will not be doing interviews anymore. This is very historical. Chris Squire, of course, from Yes, great bass player from Yes. Dr. John, Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Henry McCullough, Joe Cocker's band, Jack Bruce, of course, from Cream, Joe Lala, Johnny Winter, Keith Emerson, Paul Kattner, Jefferson Airplane and Starship, Jefferson Starship, Ray Thomas, of course, from the Moody Blues, Lonnie Montrose, Tony Joe White, David Clayton Thomas, Mike Love from the Beach Boys, Tommy Rowe, Barry Hay from Golden Earring, Chris Thompson, Manfred Mann, Jesse Colin Young, John Kay from Steppenwolf, Julian Lennon, Mark Lindsay, Mickey Dolans, Peter Rivera from Rare Earth, Tommy James from the Shondells, Todd Rundgren, Dave Mason, Edgar Winter, Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush, Greg Raleigh from Santana, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, Jim Dandy Mangrum, John Anderson, Lou Graham, Mick Box, Randy Bachman, Robin Trower, Roger Fisher, Steve Hackett, Annie Haslam, Melanie Safka, Petula Clark, Susie Quattro, Colin Blunstone, Dave Davies, Jim McCarty of the Yardbirds, and of course, Pete Best, original drummer from the Beatles. This is a great book, and everybody should add this to their collection. Okay, thank you guys for another episode, and have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on BBS Radio, Station 1.